So it looks like we've got a lot of people filtering in. We'll give it one more minute, and then we'll say hi to everybody. Does this look good for people? All right. Hey, so thank you all for coming to Kubernetes SIG Security community gathering. I think the first thing that we ought to do is go around the room and give everybody a chance to say hello, introduce yourself real briefly, and talk about, what is your involvement with Kubernetes? What would you like to see from this SIG? So I will get started with that. Hey, I'm Tabitha Sable. Use she and they to address me. My involvement with Kubernetes security is that I have had a good time with giving some presentations, doing some community outreach, talking about things at conferences on Twitter, things like that. And what I really want to see from this SIG is to provide a home inside Kubernetes for the community, which already exists, to achieve its goals.
I'll go next.
So, thank you.
And my son, who was using this for school, has his name on it, so I will put my name on it. And hi, my name is Ian Coldwater, and I am the new co-chair of Kubernetes SIG Security with Tabitha, who just spoke. My pronouns are they, them. What I would like to see from the SIG is for it to be something that is a community effort from all of the people who are interested in getting involved with Kubernetes security, for helping make it better, because I want to make it better with all of you.
All right, now if we had a physical room, we could go around the room, but since we don't, and Zoom sorts things into different orders for different people, I'll go down the participant list and just call people out here from what's on the notes. So Brad.
Hey everyone, Brad Giesemann. Similar to Tabitha, I think in terms of community involvement and talks and all that good stuff, it's great seeing a lot of faces. Hope to get to meet you in person someday, very soon, but only when it's safe. I just want to be a part of this sort of now and early, but realistically in a couple months, I'll probably hopefully have a little bit more time to dedicate. So just want to get my feet in and be a part of it as early as I can, but time involvement starting around the new year probably. So nice meeting all of you.
All right, thank you, Brad. Peter?
Hello,
Peter
everyone. Yeah, hi. Yeah, my name is Peter Benjamin. My pronouns are he or they, and I'm a former, I'm a co-lead of the former SIG security that has now joined this SIG security, new SIG security group. So I'm really looking forward to kind of improve the community in this area.
Thank you very much. Alex Alton.
Sorry, I was on mute. I actually work with Benjamin. Hello, Benjamin. And Peter Benjamin. Anyway, this caught my eye just in the last day. And so I'm not sure exactly what I'll be able to contribute. I have a lot of background in security, cryptography, network security. And so I'm hoping to be a contributing member of this community here.
All right, thank you very much. Andrew Martin.
Hello, I am Andy. I am at Cloud Native Security Consultancy and have a general hacker interest around Kubernetes and cloud native stuff. I like collaborating. I like making stuff better. I like testing stuff. So I hope I can contribute something useful.
Thank you very much. Rory?
Evening all. So I'm Rory McCune. I'm a security consultant, pen tester. I've done a lot of work in containers over the last couple of years. I guess for this, my primary focus is there's a kind of suggested sub-project around a hardening guide. And that's been kind of like where I was expecting to kind of like probably put most of my effort anyway.
Thank you very much. Tahir?
Hi, my name's Tahir. I guess my pronouns are he, him, or whatever. I'm not picky. I am coming to this from the perspective that I'm on the GK security team, so I'd like to get involved with upstream security as well. And I believe I will be becoming an associate member of the PSC very soon. So that's kind of going to be my big contribution to security.
All right, Patrick?
Hi, Patrick Romberg, he, him. I'm also on the GKE security team, but I'm coming at it from a background of analysis and tooling. And in fact, hopefully getting in today before the freeze is KEP 1933, which is in response to last summer's audit stuff. So yeah, analysis and tooling is cool.
All right. Matt? Matt Brinkley?
Yeah, my name is Matt, he, him, and I'm coming to this, I guess what I'm hoping to get out of it is to help build the community, help provide, general, support and organization as it makes sense, and just I have a lot of security expertise, relatively new to the Kubernetes ecosystem, but I've been around security for a long time, so hoping to provide expertise as I can.
Thank you. Tim Bannister?
Hi there, I'm Tim Bannister. My pronouns are parts of speech. That's all important right now. I'm an infrastructure consultant in the United Kingdom, and I also contribute to SIG docs. And if you're looking at an issue against the website repo saying we should document how to do this securely, there's like a reasonable chance I filed it. I'm interested in seeing some of those turn into PRs.
It's a documentation improvement. Duffy?
Hey everybody, I'm Duffy Cooley. I'm he, him. I do a lot of public speaking and actually also help a lot of people out in time within the Kubernetes Slack and within the community in general, helping people understand the security surface of Kubernetes and containers and all of those things. I'll probably continue to do that stuff, so I'm very interested in helping in sort of an advocacy role, making sure that people are understand what we're doing here and that kind of help people consume it, however that works out.
Thank you very much. Mike Foster?
Hey everyone, Mike Foster, he, him. I've been in Kubernetes for a little over 4 years now, recently just kind of making more of a jump into security, specifically just whole lifecycle security. So looking to be more involved in the community, learn from you guys, work with documentation, work with community involvement, different CNCF objectives and certifications as well.
Thank you very much. John Murphy?
Hello, I'm John Murphy, software engineer working on applications that run within Kubernetes controllers, operators, that sort of thing. And I'm mostly interested in helping come up with ways to prevent developers from shooting themselves in the foot from a security perspective.
Thank you very much. Joyce?
Hi, my name is Joyce. My pronouns are she, her. I started getting involved with the Kubernetes community a couple weeks ago. I started getting interested in security a few months ago, so I'm just here to get involved and learn stuff.
Welcome. Abhay?
Hey, my name is Abhay and my pronouns are he and her, he and him. So I just joined the Amazon EKS team a couple of months ago, and I'm just a starting engineer, like at the bottom of the ladder. So security has always been one of my passions. So I did the CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker certification, as well as a couple of internships in the security field. So I want to bring, I want to, apply that security to the Kubernetes ecosystem and kind of get involved and learn a lot of stuff from the experts. So that's why I'm here. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anne?
Hello, I'm Anne Bertuccio. I use she and her, and I'm the manager of the security program within Google's open source office. So I kind of come in and out upstream, bounce around, do various things with the upstream security community. I would really like to see the work and ideas that have happened in this group and that will happen in this group reach places outside of security. So I think the Kubernetes community is enormous. There's brilliant people here, and I want to make sure that work reaches far and wide.
Thank you very much. Aaron Small?
Hi, I'm Aaron. Last year, I helped lead the security audit that kind of started the conversation around should SIG security exist. So I guess my initial hopes for this are around merging the greater security community that I owe a lot to with the Kubernetes community, which is newer to me. I've only been around for a couple of years. I think that, and I also want to stay involved in the audit and continue to support Kubernetes security by helping orchestrate regular audits.
Thank you much. Glenn Messenger?
Hi, I am a PM on the GK Security Anthos team. I'm hoping just to elevate the awareness of GK's, or Kubernetes security, I should say, and see how SIG security evolves.
Thank you very much. Tim Pepper?
Hi, I'm Tim Pepper, pronouns they, them. I am one of the co-chairs of SIG release, and also relative to release have been involved in the Kubernetes patch release process. So I have because a lot of what we release at times is security fixes. And I also have a kind of hobby interest in breaking things. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. Tim Auclair?
Hi, Tim Auclair, he, him. I've been involved in Kubernetes security for about 5 years, and I'm also co-chair on SIG Auth, so I hope to kind of bring some of the, bridge some of the gap between SIG Auth and SIG security. And I also participate in the product security committee, so I'm really excited about getting more involvement with that process, and I think I'll talk about that a little more later. And yeah, pretty excited what this community can offer.
Thank you very much. Savita?
Hey, my name is Savita, she, her. I have been involved with security during, it's been over 5-6 years, and then I took a detour in my career. Then now I do Kubernetes. I've been involved in the community for over a couple, I should say around couple of years. And my primary focus is to contribute to docs, community environment, and learn and see how I can contribute back to SIG security.
Thank you very much. Diego?
Hello, I'm Diego Comas, he, him. I've been involved with Kubernetes securities for about 3-4 years in my job at HR. I'm leading the security team in a software company using Kubernetes in a fintech product. I would like to get involved more with the SIG in terms of outreach, advocacy, and whatever I can help to provide an additional perspective to the problems that the SIG is trying to solve.
Thank you very much. Jim?
Hey everyone, Jim Baguadia. So I've been working on the policy and multi-tenancy working groups and would love to kind of see how to further extend those efforts and collaborate with this group.
Thank you very much. Adolfo?
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Adolfo. You can address me as he, him, and I am one of the Kubernetes Release Manager Associates. SIG release. And currently I have under my charge a tiny project to disclose, to include CV information in the release notes of Kubernetes. So that's fine too.
Thank you very much. Let's see, we've got C chat for intro for Blake. We'll circle back to that. We know.
Hi, this is Wino, he, him. I'm from AKS. I am involved in many security features in AKS, so just trying to see what we can contribute to the upstream.
Thank you very much. Micah?
Hey, I'm Micah. I'm an engineer on, I work at EKS. I'm also on the product security committee. My pronouns are he, him. I've been involved in Kubernetes for over 5 years now. And I'm excited to see this SIG get off the ground. Glad to see everybody here for this. I'm very much looking to get involved in the release side of things, or the security release side of things, and coordination with the PSC, and then sort of the release procedures.
Thank you very much. We're getting here towards the list. Utkarsh.
Yes, hello. I am Utkarsh, a 20-year undergraduate student, and I'm a Debian core developer. And I help maintain, help triage issues and fix CVEs for Kubernetes downstream, that is in Debian. And I'm here to hang around, know more about upstream security, and maybe help bridge the upstream and downstream maintenance.
Wonderful, thank you. Trent? All right, CJ?
Hi, I'm CJ Cullen, he, him, working at Google on GKE, member of the Product Security Committee. Similar to what Tim kind of already mentioned, I'm excited to elevate some of the non-sensitive stuff that we deal with and some of the decisions about how our process works, handling that in a more community-driven way.
Thank you very much. Craig Ingram?
Hi, I'm Craig. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm also on the PSC and formerly on the Security Audit Working Group. Share some of the same goals as some of the other PSC and Security Audit members have already shared.
Thank you very much. And here we are at the end. Joel Smith?
Hi, I'm Joel Smith. I work for Red Hat. I'm a Kubernetes developer and also work on the Product Security Committee. And I also worked with Craig on the Security Audit Working Group on the first audit. So yeah, that's about it for me.
All right. Thank you all very much for sharing what has brought you here and what we can have some ideas for moving forward with. Ian, can you talk a bit about sort of the history of how we got here and say hello to everybody for us?
Sure. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the SIG Security Community Kickoff Meeting. SIG Security is a brand new SIG, and because it is a brand new SIG, we are wanting to get lots of input from the community about what they want it to be and how people want to be involved. So thank all of you for coming and for getting to share and do cool stuff with us. SIG Security started out as the Security Audit Working Group. And then I think as people got done with this third-party security audit, they realized that there were other things that might be useful to be done with Kubernetes SIG security, and wrote a charter up for it and got it approved as an official SIG. At this point, the founding chairs of SIG security have decided that they want to open it up to be more of a community effort and have given the chairship to us. And so Tabby and I are the chairs basically as community builders to help build community around this and to make it into the more open community effort that I think we want it to be. So yep, that's how we got here. That is why we're here. So the way that we wanted to do this meeting from here, and thank all of you for your patience. We really wanted to hear from everybody. So thank all of you for listening to everybody too. We wanted to talk about what the charter says SIG security is responsible for, what the current status of those things are. And because the charter is a document that is open to being revised as people decide what they want this thing to be, then we want to talk about the areas of interest that people have expressed and discuss how people want to be involved and what we want that to look like. So from here, I'm going to hand it back to Tabby to talk about the current status of things.
All right. So the current status of things is reflected in the charter, which please bear with me because I think that we could all just have a look at it. So we have the charter, which talks about scope and areas of responsibility around vulnerability management process, like collaborating with the PSC, collaborating with with the community around there, with dealing with documentation, horizontally cross-cutting documentation for security-related documentation that deals with areas across SIGs. Dealing with the ongoing responsibilities for the security audit, it'll be good to have a regular security audit in regular third-party security audit of Kubernetes, and so having a home for that in a SIG is part of what's in these areas of responsibilities. And doing more community outreach and making sure that within the upstream Kubernetes community, that there is, like within the project, that there's a place for the wonderful existing Kubernetes security community to have a home that's officially within the project. A lot of the community spaces right now are outside of Kubernetes as a project. And so, part of this area of responsibility is to provide a home for that. So that's what's in the charter as far as where our responsibilities are now. But let's talk more about the areas that we have established interest around. Ian, do you want to take that?
Yeah, okay. So the areas of interest, as far as I can tell, and people can feel free to jump in after this if I have missed anything, that people have expressed interest in SIG security doing or doing themselves are improvements to tooling, improvements to docs, which may be the purview of formerly known as SIG security docs, which I believe has a home in us now. In advocacy and community building, which can look like outreach to the external security community. Tabby, you might want to mute that really loud mechanical keyboard, please and thank you. I love you though. The external community that around security internally within Kubernetes to different SIGs as well as the PSC, build bridges between those. And as Anne said, reaching far and wide, talking about Kubernetes security hardening to everybody. Next up was actually the hardening guide, which I think Rory expressed interest in. And I think there was general expressed interest, also building bridges between upstream and downstream security hardening and maintenance. People also expressed interest in learning and in sort of general hackery things, whatever that might look like, and that I'm up for interesting ideas for. And yep, and that and in being involved in existing sub-projects such as the security audit. Is there anything that I'm missing? People can feel free to holler. I will stop talking for a minute. And if we know that those are the case, how do people, I guess I'm going to open this up again for like, what do people picture that looking like in terms of like what the group actually does, and how do you picture your involvement in what that ends up looking like?
Ian, there is a thing that I think we might mention, the upcoming security qualification. That's a sort of a side interest of mine. Is anyone else interested in that?
Thank you. I neglected to write that down. And yes, I am also interested in that.
Can I ask the stupid question of what is the security qualification?
I was going to ask that too.
I think it's the CKS, right? Brad might be able to speak to this better.
I'm not sure I'm at any position to give any information about it, but I was a part of the alpha team that helped create it. Is there a question? Or
is it like a certification? Like what do you, or is it like a qualification of an object that isn't a person? I don't know what it is.
It's like the CKA, but for security.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. I can get anybody who wants to talk to the right folks. I can get you in touch with them if that's something you want, or if you want to talk about like outreach to the community to get ready for it or prepare for it. I know it's not officially announced, and I'm going to defer to those official folks when they do that. But if you want, I can put you in touch with folks.
There is actually a prep channel already in KubeSlack for that.
See, I knew you would know that, Duffy.
Yeah, I did see some official communications out released about that.
Okay, so I think there was going to be a part in here where people talked about the existing things that were happening and about their part in it, which I think got skipped over, where I think people were going to talk from and about the PSC and from and about the security audit. So I'm actually going to go back in the agenda to that because that was going to happen, if people want to do that.
Yeah, Tim, would you like to talk about the PSC outreach aspect of things?
Yeah, sure. So for anyone who's newer to the community and doesn't know what the PSC is, it stands for Product Security Committee. And it's a group, I think there's currently 7 of us who we're responsible for triaging and managing incoming vulnerability disclosures for Kubernetes. So primarily that means these days that we triage vulnerability reports coming in through the HackerOne bug bounty. I'll add links to all of these things afterwards. Yeah, so the PSC members, we have like a 1-week kind of on-call rotation where we're responsible for sort of doing an initial assessment of the vulnerabilities. And if they look legitimate, we then typically pull in some subject matter experts from the community, and depending on the severity, we'll take different paths to respond to them and kind of ultimately make sure that that gets patched in a way that is the safest for the community. So the Product Security Committee, by necessity, needs to be a sort of small, closed group when we're triaging vulnerabilities before they go public. But we really want to get more community involvement around all of the pieces of the vulnerability management process that don't need to be private. So that includes kind of things like defining the scope of the bug bounty, defining timelines for vulnerability response. So for instance, how much time we give the distributors list that gets sort of a pre-notification of embargoed issues, how far in advance we give those notifications, how we might handle critical versus low severity issues differently. All these sorts of questions that have sort of been decided by the PSC by default in the past, and we'd really like to get more involvement from people who are actually affected by the decisions we make around these. Yeah, are there any questions about that? Do the other PSC members have anything to add? All right.
I have one thing to add. Another interest the PSC has is finding a community of people who are willing to help us handle some of the lower severity ones. Did you mention that, Tim? Maybe you did. Anyway, that's something that's interesting to the PSC too, is just to provide a larger community of people who can help with ones that that don't need to be handled necessarily in private.
All right. Thank you very much. If anybody has anything else to say about Product Security Committee outreach, otherwise I will ask Aaron, do you want to talk at all about the third-party security audit?
Sure, I'd love to. So a year ago, a little more than a year ago, actually, at this point, we ran a third-party security audit of the Kubernetes codebase. We went through the process of writing an RFP, selecting a vendor, getting funding, and then helping guide those auditors through the complexities of the Kubernetes project itself and introducing them to all of the right people to get the data they needed to build out the threat model, to do the rapid risk assessments, and then to actually audit the code. That resulted in a handful of interesting code bugs, but also some larger systemic, more complex issues that we couldn't just patch, like call a CVE and patch. And we tried with some success and some not success to get those ideas out into the community and ask for help addressing those systemic issues. We are ready to do it again. We've written the RFP for the next iteration. We're looking to be a little more open. We sort of knew what we were doing last time, but by and large didn't know what it would be like to run an audit against Kubernetes. We are a little more confident this time. So we want to open it up to the RFP publicly and just invite any vendor to write a proposal to be the next auditor for Kubernetes. Once we kick that off very soon, then it will go through the same process again, guiding them through all the different aspects of the code base and introducing them to the right people. I'm looking for, I think we can use more help this time. That's one of the reasons that kind of called the question, should there be a larger SIG security? It was a very insular group last time we did this, and we were still trying to strike the balance between closed secret, kind of like the PSC, because we did end up handling a lot of pre-disclosure vulnerabilities and getting more community involvement. So I'd like to ask people in this group who want to get involved to reach out. And I'd like to use this forum, if I could, on a regular basis to kind of report out on what we're finding and what we're doing, and ask for more and more help. I'd also like to invite Craig and Joel, who are both here, who have been working on this from the beginning, to add anything that I left out.
Nothing for me.
Yeah, that all sounds great. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. And do you want to kind of go through some of these identified areas of interest and open it up to everybody to talk about, what they think they could do around that area?
Yes. What I am doing right this second, I'm putting this in the notes and everybody can look at it, is making a spreadsheet that basically is like, please, I know everybody wrote their name on this document, but if you want to add yourself and your contact info and like what you want to be involved to this spreadsheet, it doesn't have to be right this second and we don't have to say it out loud. But if you want to do that, that will help us be able to like figure out who to reach out to. That is not currently a link. I am not making it one. Okay, there it is. And let me know if that doesn't work. So while we're all talking, feel free to add yourself to that because that might help automate this a little bit. If we were in a physical room, I would probably do breakout rooms at this point to be like, okay, of these areas of interest, what do people want to be involved in? But because I think there's some overlap and because I think we have 23 minutes, I'm not entirely sure how to virtually do that. So generally speaking, again, areas of interest are improvements to documentation and tooling, community building and advocacy, both externally and internally, bridge building with other SIGs and the PSC, bridge building between upstream and downstream, and security audit, and general learning and goodness. So I think, Peter, are you online?
I am here.
Do you want to speak to what was SIGDoc security for a minute and talk about how people can get involved with documentation stuff? And while I take that minute to figure out how to organize this into something like breakouts?
Sure. So SIG Security Docs was an effort that was born out of we identified there was a need from in the community that security docs obviously have room for improvement, and so that SIG was born out of that discovery and out of that need about a year ago, I'd say. And I was the co-lead of that SIG with my friend Seth McCombs, and for obviously for various reasons, between the pandemic and a few other things, life changes, we were not able to make as much progress as we would have liked. And so I'm really interested in, I'm really excited about this SIG as there is a renewed focus and interest on this area as well. And in terms of the process, I don't know if I've thought, like, I don't know if there is a clear process as of yet. So I'm looking to, I'm looking for, you know, collaborators, contributors to help us figure out what that looks like, define a process. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you for sharing a little bit around that, Peter. Can you tell us, like, what is the current formal status of SIG Security Docs? Is that a SIG? Has that been rolled up into something else?
Yeah, so as in the forming, early forming stages of this SIG Security, Seth and myself were approached by, you know, the former chairs who have handed off chairship to you, Tabitha, and Ian, and they gauged our interest if we wanted to join SIG Security as part of kind of like a sub, you know,
sub-project,
sub-project, exactly. And so yeah, Seth and I at the time agreed that that would be the best home for this effort moving forward.
Aaron Small, you'd like to add something here?
I don't want to interrupt if we can stay on this topic, but I'd like to add to the agenda. I have just kind of logistical questions about how sub-projects work, and I don't fully understand it. So if we could maybe add that to the agenda, that would be useful to me.
As a point of clarification for this meeting or like the next one, or?
Well, if we're going to break out into breakouts, and which is where I kind of see this going, and we're going to be discussing these individual focus areas that we've talked about, I foresee some of the questions being like the operating mechanisms for these groups, like how are we going to go about achieving our goals? What is that going to look like mechanically? And I feel like a lot of the questions in a lot of those breakouts will be kind of the same, and maybe we could address them before we break out. I'm open to being wrong here, but that's something I kind of predict.
Tabby, do you want to speak to that for a minute? Also, do you technically know how to make breakout rooms? Because I'm not actually sure that I do.
I actually don't know how to make breakout rooms inside Zoom, unfortunately.
If anybody does, feel free.
Yeah, if I can
chat at
stop
us.
screen sharing, then I'll get the UI back and I can try and do that for us.
Do you want to speak for a second to what subgroups technically do?
Yeah, technically subgroups have a lot of flexibility to define their own working conditions. So, you know, some subgroups will have their own separate meetings that have their own separate schedule and take care of their, take care of their things that way, and then just come and report progress back at generalized SIG meetings. Others may be able to work completely independently and asynchronously, by doing git commits or whatever. So subgroups can really do whichever one of those two things is most effective for them. So for like the security audit, it seems that having a subgroup that meets regularly and basically acts like a tiny SIG would be the way to go. But for other subgroups like the, inclusion of the former SIG security docs as a subgroup, it consists mostly of a place to put the list of people who can approve PRs to different parts of different Git repos. And, the actual operation of that subgroup can take place totally without meetings. So I think that somewhere on that gamut, whatever works best for the people in a different subgroup is going to be just fine. So we can go from the interest that is being expressed here that people are putting into the spreadsheet, and I would expect to distill a list of potential subgroups out of there based on talking to the people that have those interests, and which ones have somebody who wants to sign up to be a tech lead and make that subgroup happen. And then, for those people, happy to provide, resources to make that happen. Ian, more to say on that?
Yeah, okay, so just a couple of procedural things, more to say on that in particular, but to go off of the thing you just said, it seems like, and hey, we're new to this, like that we had to set breakout rooms as a setting in advance that we did not do because we did not know that that was a thing that we had to do. So since we are all new and learning together, just gonna own that. So it seems like breakouts are not going to be a thing we're going to do. However, things that I would like to know include, because I would like for people to be able to, and next time we know that that's a thing that we have to set. So next time that is going to be a thing that we set, and we hope that you come back. But like, how do people want this group to meet? As a larger thing, do people want this group to meet at all? Do people want this group to have meetings that are bi-weekly or weekly? Do people want this thing to have office hours, or do they want it to be like a Discord server? Like, what are people looking for? And that's the thing I think that I would like to know for just future planning. And also, who is interested in being tech leads or like playing more of an involved role? Like, who has the bandwidth and the interest for that? I would also like to know that because that would be useful to know in terms of figuring out how we are going to scope this thing, because these areas of interest ultimately, what the idea is that they become is that our charter reflects what community interest and involvement is going to be, and the membership also reflects what community and interest and involvement is going to be, and that's up to everybody. It isn't up to us. I think that it's up to all of you. So what are people interested in? I'm going to stop talking because I am uninterested in being the chair doing all the talking, and I am going to open it up.
So this is Savita here. I have some bandwidth to do some other docs related work. So I could step up as a lead. I haven't done that before. This is the first time I'm doing, so yes, I would take any advices and stuff, but yes, sign me up for that one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I have the bandwidth to continue to lead along with other people the security audit.
Thank you, Aaron. That's a really important area for us to be able to keep helping upstream Kubernetes, and your experience in that area is going to be really valuable.
One thing I would, I got reminded of by a SIG docs chair is that you can have tech leads, but you can also have, I think they're called admin leads. Like you can appoint people who are like, these people are going to help with the chopping water and carrying wood sort of tasks. And if we want to do that, and if anyone's got the cycles or the inclination to do that, it could be really useful with a group of this size.
Tim, what would that entail?
Whatever the group wants, really. It's a fairly broad definition of like, essentially, the permissions model lets you say you can have an admin person and not a tech lead. Then we're doing more like organizing meetings.
I'm going to throw the question also back to literally logistically, what do people want this group to look like? Because it, as co-chair, it is actually really important to know if people don't want to have meetings at all so that we stop bothering you about going. So if people would like to just, you can throw into the chat if you don't want to speak up, like that's okay. But I would really, really like to know what kind of interest and or bandwidth people have in like what they want this to look like in a very sort of immediate, literal way, if that's okay.
I can speak to that. I don't want to feel like I'm talking too much, but I will contribute my opinion, and we can treat it like a straw man. I like the idea of the larger group meeting about twice a month. The value that I will get out of that as a sub-project lead is regular opportunities to report what's going on and get opportunities for feedback on how we're going about our jobs and how it impacts everyone else around us. I would probably, depending on the state of our sub-project, change our individual meeting cadence based off of how much work we have to do. So there's probably a long period of time where I can just alternate weeks. Like I have a sub-project on every other week, and then I have a larger SIG meeting every other week, and that cadence would work really well for me personally.
Anybody else? If we assumed for the sake of argument that we were all going to be in the same place at the same time 2 weeks from now, is like, how many people would absolutely love that? How many people would find that that wouldn't like help them contribute to Kubernetes at all? We have all the flexibility to get ourselves together in whatever way and to whatever extent is going to work for everybody. This could be completely asynchronous. We could have a meeting, twice a week on different time zones with small groups that attend the different ones that match what they need. There's a tremendous variety of what's possible.
I am seeing both people saying 2 weeks out loud and people writing monthly in the chat, although I have definitely not heard from everybody and would love to hear from more people so that we have more of a representative idea of what it is that people are thinking. And again, like this doesn't have to be a huge deal. You can totally just like type a number into the chat if you want to. What I would like, it seems like some people like monthly. What I think I would personally like to propose, and I would like to see how people feel about this, is that even if it becomes monthly, because I think there is some interest in sub-projects and some coalescing that needs to be done, and maybe a breakout room radio button that needs to happen in order to help that along, that our next meeting be in 2 weeks, and that after that it might go to monthly, depending on what the sub projects do. But I think that will give us a couple of weeks to like get those sub projects and who wants to be involved in them kind of together. And if they aren't totally together, then we don't have to wait a month in order for those breakout rooms to happen. Does that work for people? That gives folks a little bit of time to like talk to their friends and convince them to come to the next meeting to go to the breakout room also.
The participants window has yes, no answers for those people who don't want to talk. We could just press the little check or X.
I just, oh, go ahead.
I had a question about that may feed into the cadence. Is SIG security going to start having issues assigned to it that it owns? If so, some cadence needs to be set up for sweeping the backlog.
It will end up having issues naturally assigned to it based on what the subgroups that emerge own. And so, you know, depending on what subgroups there are, then yeah, a subgroup that has a lot of issues assigned to it will, you know, naturally need to establish its own cadence to do that, which wouldn't necessarily require getting everybody in the SIG all into a room. But it's a good point. And yeah, I think that we can trust the subgroups to do that, because the subgroups are where the work that causes issues to get assigned to you happens. Does that address the question at all?
I kind of mean, I think if there is a SIG security label, people will choose it for issues, and that incoming needs to be triaged. There doesn't need to be a whole meeting or whatever, but I know SIGAuth, for example, drives that process on the cadence of their overall SIG meetings.
That's a good suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Thank you.
And we're all starting and learning this together, you know, so we really appreciate the input from people who have experience with the way that other SIGs do things, because this is the first time we're sharing, so.
I just wanted to share a couple things that I feel like have worked well from SIGAuth with respect to community meetings. One is that we try not to make final decisions in the meeting. We recognize that people have conflicts, and sometimes the time zone doesn't work for folks, and so not everyone can always be at the meeting. So when a decision is made, we always follow up with an email to the mailing list asking for more feedback, or sometimes just write on the PR if that's what we're discussing. So I feel like that's worked well. Also, just having the meeting time as something that when issues do come up, for instance, if there's a PR that is getting a lot of discussion on it, sometimes it can be really helpful to just have a place to go have that higher bandwidth communication. And so if someone is seeing some issue that they want to discuss, or maybe something that you just want to get more feedback on, they can just add that to the agenda for SIGAuth, and then we will address that in the bi-weekly meeting. And the chairs sometimes do a little curation of that. But I've found that very helpful for getting my own PRs and proposals through.
Cool.
Thank you.
As procedural chair things, generally speaking, and you can raise your hand or react or whatever you want, or stick a Y in the chat. Does this time work for people for meetings? Generally speaking, is this an okay time to say that we want to reconvene? Thumbs up reactions I see from a couple of you, and those are awesome. Cool.
Can't click all the right buttons. Yes, that works for me.
Okay. I would like to propose, because I want to be respectful of everybody's time, that and we have 3 minutes left, I believe, on the calendar, that we meet here again in 2 weeks, that the folks who expressed areas of interest, and if this isn't currently reflected in the agenda doc, I am happy to help reflect it, that those folks who have expressed similar interests talk to one another if possible. To one another, I will harass you in exactly 2 weeks, same place and time, to go into a breakout room and talk amongst yourselves. And then I think we can kind of figure out how to divide up work from there. If that works for folks. I really want to express a lot of appreciation for all of you and the fact that you took time out of your day to come here. Honestly, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
You all are awesome. This is going to be awesome, and I'm really excited to help make Kubernetes more secure and more awesome with all of you.
Yeah, if SIG security becomes the greatest thing, that will be because it's a space for all of these people to express their awesomeness. So thank you all for your faith to invest an hour in coming and talking to us. Go and make group DMs on Kubernetes Slack or whatever is the easiest way for you all to get in touch with each other. And we will have some more procedural help in place, like in terms of breakout rooms and things like that, for everybody to get together in a fortnight.
Yeah, thank you all very much. Really appreciate you, and see you in 2 weeks. Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.